Hi guys! So this is how this has come to me, in a plastic bag with that little spring. And the owner said, put the spring back. It somehow came out of the gun. I don't know how that happens, but so this is just a little North American Arms 22 long rifle. Right over there it says North American Arms. Anyway, it's not that simple as putting this spring back. There's more wrong with this gun than just that spring. So because obviously the hammer's floppy because there's no hammer spring in there, but when I cock the hammer, the cylinder should turn, and it's not rotating. So there's a problem there. And when you cock the hammer, that is the cylinder stop over there, and when you cock the hammer, that should withdraw and click back into the next notch as the cylinder comes round. So there's an issue there too. You get the cylinder out first, and this one's exceptionally hard to come out. Anyway, that's the axis pin of the cylinder. Now we can see we got a hand that's supposed to come out right over there. So when you cock the hammer, there's a hand that's supposed to push up out of that slot, push up on the ratchet or on the star to rotate the cylinder. Now that's not there. So this screw has all been mangled, and I think the reason is that this is left hand thread, and they might have been turning it in the wrong direction to try and get this open. And that's just the pivot. It holds on the side plate as well, acts as the pivot pin for the hammer. And there's the key. The hammer is bare bones. There's nothing on the hammer. If I get the side plate off, you'll see. I'll be able to show you. This is so fragile, I don't want to lever on it. Got the side plate off, there's nothing on the side plate, just holes to support these pins. So, put the hammer back in. So the hammer's back in. So starting with the cylinder stop, in that little hole over there is supposed to be a plunger that's pushing this way, and it rides on top of the cylinder stop over there. And when you cock the hammer, you can see it disappears under the cylinder stop, and what it's supposed to be doing is pushing the cylinder stop down. So it rides down on the cylinder stop and getting the cylinder stop out of the way over there. And when the hammer gets to full cock right there, on the back of that cylinder stop it's hollowed out, and the cylinder stop can then flick over. When I take the hammer, that screw out, you'll see that is where that hollowed out area is. So you can see right there, and the hand goes onto that little hole, and it's got a L-shaped spring that sits in that groove there and pushes up on the hand, and then that goes through there. Okay, so we got spares that came in. We got the little plunger spring and the plunger, the hand spring, and the hand. Got to get the plunger, and the plunger goes in on the right side of the hammer. It's kind of that hole's bigger on one side than the other side, so it steps in there. The little spring goes in behind it. I put the screw in just to illustrate how it works. Okay, so the way that little plunger that we just put in, it rides on the cylinder stop. So when you cock the hammer, it pushes the cylinder stop down, allowing the cylinder to turn, and then there's a little hollowed out section right over there, and then the cylinder stop can slide over that pin, and then when you fire, the hammer returns back to its original position, and then that little pin can poke back out so that it can ride on the contour of that cylinder stop for the next time you cock the hammer. So the hand goes into that little hole, like that. And the hand spring, it sits around that screw with that leg riding in there. Okay, you got to put the hand in first, and then you got to get that spring into the groove in the hammer, like that, and then the tip of that spring rests on the actual hand, making the hand spring loaded. When you fire, it withdraws the hand. Like that. When you cock, the hand comes up, and that little spring will push the hand forward. See if I can do that without it slipping off like that. Okay, got the spring on, got the cylinder stop in. We'll get the side cover on, get the side plate screw on. Got it clicked in. Now we should just get the screw through the hammer. If we cock the hammer, the plunger we inserted should pull the cylinder stop down while the hand pushes up to rotate the cylinder. And when you fire, that should withdraw. Okay guys, I got it done. So it is not possible to get the mainspring in with a side plate on. It is possible on the 22 mags, and I was, the 22 mag models like this, and I was trying to do that. You can't get it in. There's just there's no way. There's not enough travel on the spring. So you got to get them in at the same time, and that is a challenge. So you got to get those two dinky springs on the inside lined up, and then you got to get the hammer spring in at the same time. And then when you get that on, as soon as you click the side plate on, those springs shoot out again. So what I did was I got it together, and I used a 2.9 millimeter drill as a pilot, and I ran it through there, and then I set the hammer and everything up on that drill, and then I was able to set the side plate on over the drill and get it home, and then I could use the drill to manipulate the hammer, because now the hammer, you got the mainspring in, and so the hammer is spring loaded and it's fighting you all the way. And I could get the drill out a little bit at a time and get the screw in, and then eventually just kept on manipulating the hammer until I got that spring to that screw to turn. Put this together, put it on half cock, roll the cylinder in, and then put that pin in. This pin also serves as your ejector to unload your empties when you fired. Inside it's exactly the same as the 22 mag. Everything is just scaled down, and it doesn't allow you any space for leverage. And you've also got, between the cylinders, you've got a safety notch. So what you do is you get the cylinder rotated, and you want it to click in between. So you want the hammer to click in on one of those notches, thereby it's not resting on a live round, and there's not a single the chamber is not lined up with the muzzle. You got a half a chamber either side of the muzzle. So if you drop this on a hard surface, it can't fire. Anyway guys, I hope you found that interesting and that it helped somebody out there. Stay safe. We talk again. Cheers.